the real world. So, geographically, who, where writes these things? Well, vast majority of the malware authors, we don't know. For some of those, we have some sort of information, putting the hotspot to Europe, South America, and different parts of Asia, to countries like Norway, Spain, Brazil, and in Asia, places like India, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, China, and so on. Where are the actual infections happening then? Vast majority of the reports that we actually get from the field are coming either from Europe or from Southeast Asia. Then there are some individual hotspots like Middle East. Many of the Arab countries like Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates often report infections to us. Same thing for South Africa, surprisingly. Practically no report, very few reports from North America. Almost zero reports from South Korea and Japan because of the different technologies in use over there and because of the fact that, for example, Japanese operators like NTT Docomo very heavily restrict what the users can do with their phones. For example, they can't install third-party applications unless it has been signed by the operator. And of course, the operator doesn't sign the viruses, so users can't install them even if they wanted to. So the reason why Symbian is being targeted. First of all, Symbian is a range of different operating systems. What really is being targeted is Symbian Series 60, second edition. And it's being targeted because it's very common, it's easy to access, it's easy to program, and probably one of the biggest reasons, there's lots of existing virus code. Because if you look at the viruses and malware out there for Symbian, most of those are just modified versions of earlier Symbian viruses. So these kids download the code, modify it a bit, or take down the binary and hex edit it and put it back out. That's what's causing the numbers to go up on the Symbian side. So if you look at the variant count in different families, we see that almost all of the family, or a big part of the families on Symbian side have more than 10, more than 20 members in those families. So this tells us that there's just lots of variant hacking going around. Somebody taking an existing virus and making it a new one. In 2004, before we saw the first real mobile phone viruses, we were talking about what they will look like and what the first mobile phone viruses will look like when they come out. And I remember that I was betting that the first viruses will be targeting Windows Mobile. Because, many people hate Microsoft and they want to target Microsoft with their viruses. Plus, Windows Mobile, it's a Win32 platform. You can even go to Microsoft.com and download a guide which will assist you how to take any existing Windows XP source code and how to convert it to run under Windows Mobile. And there's tons of existing virus code, source code available for Windows XP based viruses. So you would think that somebody would take the source code of, Bagel and port it to Windows Mobile. And then it would spread from one Windows Mobile phone to another Windows Mobile phone using email, just like the original virus did. So that's what I was expecting, that's where it starts from, because that's the easiest thing to do. Well, I was wrong. We haven't seen that even today. Instead of seeing ports of existing viruses, we started to see completely new viruses written from scratch using a replication mechanism which had never been used before, which was Bluetooth. So that's what Kabir was using. So in many ways, it is a good question why Windows Mobile hasn't been targeted more than it already has. The market share explains a bit, but not really everything. And my best guess would be that it will be targeted more in the future. In fact, if you look where we are going right now, the latest Symbian phones aren't being targeted almost at all for reasons that I'll get into a bit later. And I would think that the most activity in the near future might be happening on Windows Mobile and on iPhone. So when we found the first virus, Kabir, this was in June 2004, it was a simple, stupid proof of concept virus which was spreading via Bluetooth. It didn't break the security model of Bluetooth or of the operating system at all. It was simply trying to beam itself to other recipients who were close by, close to the phone. So what it looks like when it arrives to your phone, it shows up as a series of questions. Receive message via Bluetooth from, and it shows the name of the sending phone, which has to be within the Bluetooth range, which is like, 30 feet around you. Could be behind walls or behind ceilings, but close to you anyway. Yes or no? If you answer yes, it will ask you, install Caribe. Yes or no? And if you answer yes, then it will ask you, or actually warn you, installation security warning, unable to verify supplier, continue anyway. Yes or no? And if you stupidly click yes, then you are infected. So when you think about this, you would think that, that will never, ever happen in the real world. Like nobody's going to get this virus. That's what it looks like. However, when we actually look at this for real, it looks quite different. Let me show this to you with a video we've shot in our RF lab. What we have here is two phones. The phone here on the right we are now infecting on purpose with the Kabir Bluetooth virus. And this here is a clean phone, which is just sitting there with Bluetooth enabled and Bluetooth visible. For example, the user has connected his phone to a Bluetooth headset and then just left Bluetooth enabled, which is what happens by default. Now we run Kabir, it's scanning the room to find another Bluetooth device, and since there's no other devices in the room, it's going to find the phone on the left side. So you could think that the phone on the left side is your phone. You could think about this, that you are in a bar, having a beer, here in Vegas. That's the phone in your pocket. Someone else walks to the same bar with an infected phone, and walks within the Bluetooth range, and starts to beam you the virus. It will show up on your phone screen with that message. Receive message via Bluetooth from and the name of the sending phone. However, it's important to understand that now when this appears on your screen, your phone doesn't ring. Your phone doesn't vibrate. It just asks you this question. And of course the phone is in your pocket, so you're not going to notice this. You're there having your beer for 10 more minutes. Then you remembered, oh my God, I was supposed to call my wife. And then you pick up the phone from your pocket and start to punch in the numbers, only to realize that you can't. You can't use the phone for anything else as long as this message is on screen. So you have to answer the message. Numbers won't work. You press the menu button, nothing happens. So you have to. This is not optional. It's mandatory. You have to answer yes or no. Can't ignore it. So of course you're going to answer no because you don't know what's this. You don't care what's going on. You just want to make the stupid phone call. So you press the no button. But as soon as you press the no button, it sends itself again, it sends itself again, it sends itself again, it sends itself again. So it looks to the average user like that the no button doesn't work. So there's this stupid phone, you need to make a phone call, you can't use the phone, the no button doesn't work, this goddamn stupid thing. And of course, what else? The average user definitely is going to click yes button because he needs to make a phone call, no button doesn't work, and there's no other option. And this is the explanation why mobile phone viruses over Bluetooth have been any kind of problem in the real world. It is a user interface issue, as simple as that. This user interface feature causes the problem. Now, of course, what the user should have done instead is simply to leave the room, walk away from the infected device, walk away from the Bluetooth range, and the message will disappear. It will just go away silently. And then you can use the phone for whatever you want. You can make the call to your wife and go to the menu, switch the Bluetooth to hidden mode, whatever you want. But of course, it's not obvious to the normal user. Think about it. I got this weird message to my mobile phone screen, so I'm going to leave the room. It doesn't make any sense. Kabir, surprisingly, is still spreading in the wild today. We keep getting reports from multiple different locations 3 years after it was found. And it's slowly and surely traveling the world as people travel. So it's really spreading like biological disease, like the flu. It's unable to beam itself over the Atlantic. Someone has to take an infected phone and board a plane and fly to Europe to spread this from USA to Europe and so on. Actually, it came here the other way around, the infections. We actually know exactly how it came from Asia to Europe. We most likely found the original infection vector, one guy who brought it accidentally to Europe, and then it's been spreading from Europe to USA. And viruses like this spread especially well when you have people from multiple different locations, possibly even multiple different countries, gather to a single location, like a conference room, where they are within beaming distance of each other. And then after the conference or whatever, they leave and go back to their own countries and states and whatever. So we've seen some of these outbreaks in mass happenings like concerts and sporting events and things like that. We were doing some sort of prototype testing on the Bluetooth, like just how popular Bluetooth devices are and how much of those are discoverable and visible publicly. And this picture is from CeBIT fair in Germany, which is by far the largest IT fair in the world. It's literally hell on earth. I recommend everybody to avoid it. This is our booth in there, and we were actually running inside this table in here. We had a small embedded device running an ARM processor and 3 Class 2 Bluetooth radios, and we were scanning everybody who were close by our booth and collecting information for the duration of the fair. And during that fair, we found 22,500 Bluetooth devices. 22,500 devices which were within our booth during the fair, which had Bluetooth, had it enabled, and had it visible. So these things are mighty common. This thing actually even accepts OBEX file transfers. So if somebody is actually walking around with an infected phone, it will accept it, the file transmission, and scan it and show it what was being beamed. And it will even lie. These 3 radios, one of them claims to be a Windows mobile device, one of them claims to be a Windows laptop, and one of them claims to be a Symbian phone. So it will accept transmissions if malware only wants to beam, for example, to a Symbian phone. So I'd like to introduce Jarno Niemelä to the stage. Jarno is senior antivirus researcher in our labs, and he's going to assist a bit with a couple of demos we're going to run for you today. So what we're going to show next through the video camera over here is a case with, let's see if I can get the interlacing on. Here we go. What we have here is, what's the number of this phone? Nokia what? 6830?
6680.
6680. So this is a Symbian Series 60 second edition phone from 2 years ago, so it's not a brand new phone. But what we're going to demonstrate is the infection mechanism or mechanism on how you might get malware on your phone without seeing any kind of prompts. The prompts you saw in the video regarding Bluetooth are pretty much similar to what you get over multimedia messages if you get an MMS virus to your phone. But when we're talking about things like Skull's Trojan, it's quite different. And this is safe to show you over here because this is not a Trojan. It's not going to try to replicate further from this phone over here because, of course, that would be a stupid idea to show it over here. So Jarno has a memory card over here. Can you show the card to the camera?
Yes.
So here's a memory card which is taken from an infected device, and we are now just going to insert it into this device. So you can imagine that you're swapping games with your friend from one phone to another by just putting in a memory card. And pay attention, we just put in the card. We are not going to do anything else. We are not clicking anything, we are not accepting anything, we are not getting any kind of warnings. Regardless of that, roughly 10 seconds from after it was inserted, boom. And now if Jarno goes and tries to, for example, open the phone book, if you go there, or calendar, or messaging.
Phone book's working.
Phone book works because it was running when we started. Yeah. But for example, go to calendar, and it won't start. So it breaks the applications. And that's all you really had to do, put in the memory card. No prompts, no nothing. So at the extreme, it can be fairly impossible to notice the user what's really going on.